Wow, that movie was certainly explosive. Alright, I just got back from watching Oppenheimer in IMAX, and let me tell you what an experience that was. My first time watching a Christopher Nolan movie in theaters, like for the first watch, and man, was it just truly an experience. Like, you all should go see this movie just because of the story that Christopher Nolan tells and how he tells it in such a grand, exquisite way. 3-hour runtime. I hardly felt the runtime, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to go over the whole plot because it's a true story. It's a documentary. It's about Robert Oppenheimer, who's the father of the atomic bomb, and what it meant for him, what it meant for all of America, and how it affected Oppenheimer and what happened to him, how he was betrayed by the U.S. And it also talks about his past life and basically all the Los Alamos project and all that, the Trinity test. Basically, it just covers all of that stuff like it did in real life because it's a true story. Chris Nolan went for all the true facts in this one. Sure, he uses subjective and objective themes in the movie with black and white and color. All that takes place. But, I was simply blown away after this movie ended. It just leaves you with such a sense of dread and, a change of thought about what this world is and how it treats its people. And how it treated the man that saved thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives. And basically he changed the world. Robert Oppenheimer changed the world. Some people think for the better, some people think for the worse. If he didn't do what he did, how would the world have changed? Probably in a massive way. We don't know. But he changed it, and then he got betrayed by the US. It's tragic. It's very, very disheartening of what went on after the atomic bomb dropped on Japan. Very disheartening. Everything that goes along with it. But I was really changed when I walked out, saw the world kind of differently, because you're just in this full-blown experience of, in Robert Oppenheimer's eyes. Basically, it's a first-person story. 3/4 of it. It's crazy. You're just in the experience watching in IMAX. Everyone should go watch this in IMAX. The frame is so tall. He's shot in IMAX. Basically, 85% of it's shot in IMAX. Every scene, I think, has meaning. Every piece of dialogue has a lot of meaning. And I think this movie, if I want to compare it to something, I think it kind of compares to The Social Network. Social Network had a lot of dialogue and a lot of meaning behind every single scene. It kind of discovered and talked about Zuckerberg's life and how Facebook basically messed with his brain and how he was very changed after he made Facebook. This kind of follows Oppenheimer and how he made the bomb, how he discovered different things, and how it changed him after it was done. So I got a lot to say about this film. We're going to do a whole in-depth conversation with a couple other people in kind of a podcast form later next week, so stay tuned for that. But our cast here, this is probably the most stacked cast of the year. Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Emily Blunt, Jack Quaid, Matt Damon, Rami Malek, Josh Peck is in this. We got a lot of Cillian Murphy. We're gonna talk about Cillian Murphy, Casey Affleck, Gary Oldman, many other people. We can't go through them all, but a lot of people in this cast. Shout out to all of them. But Cillian Murphy, he just brings on such a legendary performance. He's finally in a leading role in a Christopher Nolan movie, and it's about time. He's so good in all the other Christopher Nolan movies he's in. His act of playing Scarecrow in Batman Begins was one of my favorite parts of that movie. I wish he was the main villain of that movie. I think he would have been so cool. He has such a great little performance in Dunkirk, which I really enjoyed, but now he's the lead of this movie, playing the legendary Robert Oppenheimer. And what he can do with his eyes in this movie is very, very nice. I really like his eye acting, as you like to call it. He has a lot of great moments in here, but he plays Oppenheimer very well, because Oppenheimer is he's a very, I'm not going to say non-happy person, but he really keeps his feelings to himself. I watched a little documentary about Oppenheimer last week, and Oppenheimer in his childhood, he was bullied a lot, and he didn't really fight back. He just took it. So he's just a man to just take things and not really fight back during most of his childhood. And it kind of covers his childhood and early life before the atomic bomb in this movie, which I really liked. But I don't think it covered it enough for me to really get on with it. But Cillian Murphy, he's a force to be reckoned with this coming Oscars next year, because I think he's my favorite actor of the year so far. I think he gives the best performance. And he's basically the lead of this film. It's told in first person. So you're really in his eyes through the whole movie. So I think he does great. The other standout for me is Emily Blunt, his wife. I think she was amazing. I loved how Christopher Nolan wrote her character and what she had to deal with while Oppenheimer was making the bomb, and how she just felt really secluded in that whole situation. And Robert Downey Jr. as Strauss, oh my goodness, what a powerhouse of a performance that he brings. Unlike anything I've seen Robert Downey Jr. do in any of his films, he gives one of the best supporting performances of the year. And it's going to be a very big 3-horse race between Robert Downey Jr., Robert De Niro, and Ryan Gosling come the Oscars next year. They're all going to be fighting for supporting, but Robert Downey Jr., he brings such a great performance here. He's basically in the last half of the film a lot. He's great in there. And I think that this movie is a great learning experience, because when I was in school, high school, they didn't teach me a lot about Oppenheimer and what he did and what America did to him, and a lot about the atomic bomb. They didn't teach me a lot of that in school, which I was kind of upset about. You know, it's a big point in history, a big turning point for Americans, for the Japanese, and I was kind of disappointed, you know, but I feel like if you go into this movie, you can learn a lot of what happened to everyone in that time period and what happened to Oppenheimer mostly. I feel like this film can teach you a lot. That's why I think everyone should go see it, but it is rated R, so just keep that in mind if you want to go see it. And Oscar chances, let's just talk about that for real quick. I think this one is going to basically get nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. Probably not Best Actress. I don't see Best Supporting Actress. Maybe Emily Blunt will get in there. Best Cinematography, Best Score. Holy crap, the score is so good. Ludwig Göransson, he did so damn good on this score. I was simply blown away of what he was able to do with the score. Best Editing, I think you can get in with for that. Set Design, maybe. Costume Design, maybe. It's up for a lot of technical awards. This one's going to be like Barbie. It's going for a lot of technical awards, and I think it'll get nominated for a lot of them. The pace of this film is 3 hours, of course. A big film, big long film. As I said in the beginning, I didn't really feel the 3 hours too much, maybe just a little bit here and there, but overall I didn't feel it as much as I felt it on some other 3-hour films that had come out in the last 5 years. But so I think this was paced really well, and I think that has a lot to do with the script and a lot of dialogue heavy scenes where you're just focused on what every character has to say and basically the meaning of what they're saying. So I think the pace was very good. I think the runtime really was needed to tell this huge grand story. Every part, every 3-act structure and how it worked. I think you needed all 3 hours to tell an hour for each little act of story. So overall, I think Oppenheimer is a dense film, but also a fantastic and an amazing film. And Christopher Nolan just added another basically almost perfect film to his resume. I'm gonna do a Christopher Nolan ranking sometimes later this week, so stay tuned for that. But this is pretty high up there. Let me just say that this is a high up there ranking, and I don't know, I'm kind of speechless at what Nolan was able to do with this film. It kind of just leaves you back in your seat, and you're like thinking about the film way after it came out. This film is just very changing for a lot of people, and a lot of people are expressing their opinion on it and how it's such a big film, such an important film of the last decade. I think everyone's going to have to take this one in for a couple days before they can really discuss it. But you know, if you're going to go see a Barbenheimer double feature, I would go Barbie first and then this second, so you can really digest it. And I think it will be a fun experience for you if you go see in that order. But man, what a great experience at the theaters this weekend. 2 amazing movies. Oppenheimer though, oh my goodness, what a film, what a film. So dense, so full of, I mean, kind of energy, but just important moments in history. So overall, I'm going to give Oppenheimer a 9.7 on first watch. Sure, it could change. I hope to see it a couple more times in the next week or two, because it's just a film that needs to be seen a lot of times to really digest it. But I hope you guys all go and see it. It's a very important film, like I said. But if you guys enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like. I post a lot almost every day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.